Yes, Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going over a list of my top 5 favorite boss fights in video games. I chose to go with only a top 5 because I was really thinking about it, and in my opinion, excuse me, I just came home from dinner. Um, None of these, no other boss fights really compare to these 5 for me. Um, but also because, the number 5 spot is Visages from Expedition 33. And to be honest, because Expedition 33 has a lot of really damn good boss fights, I might just fill up an entire top 10 list with Expedition 33 boss fights. And so I wanted to kind of preserve a bit of variety. So I only decided to go with the top 5 here. But what I love about Visages is that I always love bosses where you can defeat other enemies first to make them weaker mechanically, and that's exactly what this boss does. I think it's very cool. Um, um, and like this whole theming around masks and all that stuff, I and like the general theme of the area. It was like my favorite area in the game, and I just thought like the theming behind it was super super cool. Um, and yeah, I thought it was like there's a ton of really good boss fights in Expedition 33, but that one was my favorite because I just thought like the look and design of it was the coolest. And number 4 is the final boss fight versus Nyx in Persona 3. Um, what I love about this boss fight is that it really is a final boss that excellently makes use of everything that you have learned during the game because of the way that it switches arcana and how that um uh figures into like you need to adapt your fighting style to fight this boss. But also just like the entire lore around it and like the fact that uh the Nyx avatar is actually Ryoji the entire time, and just the brilliant like story build up to all of that, and like the final conclusion where the main character dies in order to defeat Nyx is just like awesome. Um Everything about this boss is just really fucking cool. Now my top 3 are sort of separated into specific categories for me. Um, and number 3 is the final fight versus King K. Rool and Donkey Kong Bonanza. And when I say specific categories, when I was making this list, I tried to think about both story slash lore and pure gameplay. And um, the final fight against K. Rool, in my opinion, is the best boss fight in terms of pure gameplay and mechanics because it makes use of every skill and ability that you learn throughout the entirety of the game. You are switching between bonanza forms constantly to do very difficult combos. There's like multiple phases to him. There's like the whole beginning bit where you're like rising out of the ground and you have to like fight him on the raising platform. Like that's all part of it. There's so much spectacle to this boss fight, and it just brilliantly makes use of like pretty much every mechanic in the entire game of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and the way that it utilizes all of those things to make a really, really hard, but really, really fun and unique and interesting final boss is just amazing. Now, my number two, and this is the one that I believe is the best in terms of pure story and lore, is the final fight against Revan at the end of the Shadows of Revan um uh plot line in Star Wars The Old Republic. And what I love about this boss fight is it's a brilliant conclusion to not only the sequence of story and Revan's character throughout this, but Revan's character as a whole. And Revan is my second favorite character in fiction and easily my favorite Star Wars character. And so, fighting it mechanically is just epic because, um, it does have some interesting twists, but like this is more on the story side of things. It's like the fact that like the Empire and the Republic are joining forces, and you fight Revan, this boss, with like seven other companions, I think it is. I was rewatching a video of the fight last night when I was making this list, and it's like Darth Mar, Satele Shan, Theron, Lana Benito, Jakar the Wookiee, and the Mandalorian woman who I can't remember her name, but like when she just flies in, it's so epic, and like the entire spectacle of like fighting with seven other characters is just so crazy, and I love this fight, I really do. Um, but my favorite boss fight in any video game I have ever played, I came to this opinion after rewatching the boss fight last night as well. This is the boss fight that I think is the best mix of both gameplay and story, and that is the Solo Barrett fight versus Dyne in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Um, Now, what I love about this fight, gameplay and mechanics wise, is that um you have to make careful use of Barrett's abilities, which I was already really good at. Barrett's like my favorite character to play as, in that combat style. Um, and like you have to dodge the gunfire, and it's like just a really interesting range battle, but also like Dyne uses some close-up attacks using like the crazy metal that connects to his arm and stuff like that. um and then just like the story surrounding this boss fight is just beautiful. It does so much amazing things for Barrett as a character. Um like the backstory where Dyne supposedly dies is just tragic, and like their entire dialogue interactions are just so sad. Um and like the emotion over dying, like not only knowing that Marlene was alive, but like just and like telling Garrett and Barrett to live with the guilt. It's just like it is so incredible, the character and emotion that came out of that, and it was also just like a really fun boss fight to play gameplay wise. It was a really good challenge, and so as a result of that, that's why it's my favorite boss fight in all video games. And that concludes my list. Um, Let me know what you think of my list and share your favorite video game boss fights in the comments below. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.